Of people out here who oppose this war and who oppose military solutions to these problems. Now, nobody's sure that this would actually bring about the extradition and the trial of Osama bin Laden. But we also have yet to see evidence that links him directly to it. We also know that even when Timothy McVeigh was caught for his terrorist act, that anybody who had tried to lynch him, had tried to take him away from the justice system, would themselves have been accused of a crime. And I think we have to apply the same standards of legality that we apply in our own country to an international crime of this sort. But the response that we are taking, the military response, just plain will not work to bring about the aims that we have. And military action has never succeeded in reducing terrorism. It just does not work. When you kill a person on the other side of a conflict, what you do is you create terrorists. If we were to kill Osama bin Laden, we would make a martyr to the cause, and we would have thousands more terrorists ready to go out and attack the United States. Ends justify the means. And certainly to declare a war against evil and then to go about executing that war in such a way that innocent civilians are once again being killed is just plain wrong. I think also we have to look at it from a legal standpoint. And from an international, first of all, from a national legal standpoint, it is required by the Constitution that we have a declaration of war when we wage a war. I would argue that the events of the 11th were not an act of war, but an act of a crime against humanity, and that they should be dealt with as a crime. And I would also argue that the way to deal with a crime of that magnitude is through international law. And we do have at our means of use the United Nations and the International Court of Criminal Justice. Now, in the past, the United States has refused to join into the International Court of Criminal Justice because it would put members of the United States government under possible scrutiny for prosecution. But at this stage, I think we really need to say that this has been an act of terrorism, it has been a crime against humanity, and that the whole international community would come together under the United Nations and make a strong statement and a strong call for extradition of those responsible, and that call would be much more heated than a call from the United States alone. And that what we need to do, and that it could also be backed up by the force of the United Nations if we would indeed make a United Nations peacekeeping force which had military capabilities not under the command of the United Nations. So as I said, that's how we originally chose to be out here on the 13th. We had no idea that the events of September 11th would happen. The terrible events in New York City have changed all of our lives. And right now, although we're still grieving for the people who died there, and although we're still seeking justice for those who perpetrated it, many of us have become most concerned about the response that our government is making to these events and the possibilities not only for a large conventional war, but for it going over into the realm of nuclear war as well, since Pakistan is a nuclear state. That poll was done 3 weeks ago, probably at the height of the anger, and the question they asked was, if the terrorists are identified, would you support A, military attacks against the country that harbors them, or B, attempts at extradition, which may or may not be successful? Around the world, in Europe, South America, and most of Asia, 80% of the people polled supported extradition. In the United States, interestingly enough, on this, I believe this was on September 27th, 54% of Americans polled supported military action, 30% supported extradition, and 16% didn't know. Now, this is still a majority supporting military action, but it is not the 90% that we've been hearing. Now, I think we have to realize that the press, the media, and our government has been lying to us about the support that they have. And we have to realize that our voices together need to be raised loud and clear to let people of the world and people of our country know that it's okay to speak out for peace. It's okay to call out for alternatives to military intervention. And it's okay to act morally in this world. Thank you.